A very good morning to you and welcome to the Idea Morning Digest. And yes, today is the 18th of February 2026. And yes, I'm very excited to be kick-starting to be starting my morning with you rather. And you like things we do around here: science, technology, entrepreneurship, education, innovation, policies, development. This is the right place to be. And you can send in your thoughts, send in your ideas, send in your opinions to us at Idea Television and, of course, via email at Idea TV Limited. This morning we have a whole lot lined up, and we'll be taking you across the headlines, and then later on you'll be seeing the discussion segment where we'll be dissecting some issues that matters right now. And of course, you'll be seeing what's trending with us, and of course, we'll bring you the weather update. But before that, let's see the headlines we'll be bringing your way this morning. And the first news is that ABIA launches learner ID system to track students statewide. And then Africa HYPERSCALERS calls for responsible AI reporting at Lagos Media Workshop. And of course, World Bank urges Nigeria to invest in people to reach $1 trillion economy. And lastly, you'll be seeing how South Africa's unemployment falls to 31.4% in fourth quarter. But first, we'll take a short break, and when we are back, we'll see the stories proper.
(5G) technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
It's very good to have you back. You're still watching the Idea Morning Digest, and if you're just joining, it's not too late. And the first news we'll be seeing here is that the ABIA state government has today introduced a digital education management and information system alongside a learner identification number known as ABSLIN to track students across schools in Abia State. The announcement was made in Umuahia by the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Goodluck Ubochi, after the State Executive Council meeting. The system will give every learner a unique ID, allowing authorities to monitor enrollment, academic progress, and school transfers in both public and private schools. Officials say the move will strengthen education planning, curb unregulated student movement, and improve learning outcomes. The government also confirmed progress in teacher recruitment and literacy programs as ABIA aligns with a wider national shift toward data-driven education reforms across Nigeria. Yes, you know, when I saw this story, I just feel, first of all, how much of a shift this represents for the education management rather in Nigeria.
Indeed.
And you know, thinking about it, we've seen that for decades, for a while now, we keeping track of students' numbers, keeping track of student keeping track of transfers as well, keeping track of even exam performance has been a serious issue. It has been cumbersome to an extent, and especially with students moving between public and private schools. We know that's a typical case in Nigeria. It happens most often, and with a unique ID, I think a unique ID for every student. I think officials can now, you know, monitor all of these issues accurately, you know, monitor who is in this school, who is going to another school, you know, where they are and how they are performing over time in the different schools they are, you know, moving from to the other. And I also think what is interesting here is not just about like I always say, the numbers again. I think I think first of all, by tracking enrollment and academic progress digitally, because we're in a digitally inclined society now, whether we like it or not, I think the states can now, you know, sort of plan better to identify gaps in resources, in infrastructural facilities, what needs to be put in place, and to know which schools need more hands, which school needs more capacity, which school needs more, teachers, which school needs more, should I say, materials, even the way to detect all of these patterns that affect the different schools and also their learning outcomes, because each school may have their own peculiar, problems that are peculiar to them. So I feel like this will help them identify all of those problems and channel resolutions accordingly. And it also makes it harder for, students to disappear from the system unnoticed, because we always talk about data, and this is what I see coming to play here. This is a huge improvement rather in the academic sector in ABIA State, and I also feel like this is also going to improve accountability in the educational system, of course, and although it won't solve everything overnight, because people will be like, is it going to be a quick, but it won't solve everything overnight, but I just feel like this is very important. Yes.
Indeed, it's quite an important and welcome development in Abia State, and we've seen what the executive governor has been doing. I call them executive because it's been duly is worth all the sense of the name in Abia State. The development that he has done, and this is an example of what we say, that there has to be a multiplicity of ideas, or multiplicity of innovative or creative ways of doing things, because Abia State has been developing in different areas, and I'm so glad that Alex Oti has also extended the hands of growth or development to the education sector. At this table yesterday, we spoke extensively about the degrading even to use the word against the education system seems very hard, and deplorable situation that our education system is, from the primary to the secondary down to the tertiary institution in Nigeria. So I think this is a welcome development. But other areas that I want state government to do, or from the federal government itself, is for us to decentralize the education system in Nigeria. For a very long time, we talked about the WAHEC, which is popular and it is required for all schools to have that. But for the running of school systems in Nigeria, when it comes to JAMB accreditation, admission for students, I believe states should be able to, there should be a benchmark for from the Ministry of Education of what should be allowed on how states can run, but they should decentralize the process. You don't have to register for JAMB. Look at what young people are passing through right now. For the registration, you can register this year, and now there's been a new pronouncement that once you're registered and enrolled in one institution, you can't rewrite the JAMB. Maybe you were given one course, you haven't made your decision whether or not you want to pursue that study, and you want to try another one while you still retain the one that you have. So right now we are being told to leave what you have and then go for what you want. While that is not actually, there's no proof for how certain it's going to be or how lucky you'll be in getting the next one that you want to get. So I think we need to begin to see how can we decentralize the system. You've talked extensively about how this is important. It gives access to understanding the kind of challenges that students or children are facing in this learning of institutions, how many teachers are available, what are the resources available to them, how can they use those resources as well. And you mentioned something about disappearing. I remember when I was going to school in Ibadan, and there was a time the governor went around the street and then saw children at school hour roaming about the streets and said, why are you people here on the street? So those, if we have that concrete data, it would let you to know the time a child comes to school, the time a child